This story is about the first time, and not the last, that I was nearly unalived. This close. So those who haven't seen my video, it's called Hungry and Homeless, in the story tab, you would know that when I was 17, I was kicked out of my house and made homeless. And after a while, by God's grace, I found temporary accommodation and I was able to live there and start a new life. So during this time of my life, I was literally fighting to stay on top of things. I was learning how to live on my own, learning how to clean, how to wash clothes. I didn't know how to cook. And to make matters worse, I was living off sweets and microwave meals, thinking this was dinner. I felt like a whole human octopus. Like, I was juggling multiple things. I was trying to make sure I was always at college because I wanted to be somebody. I had a part-time job that I needed to attend so I can get this money. And then at the same time, I was trying to maintain my living circumstances at the age of 17. Now, at this point, I felt like I had the world on my shoulders. One random day, I started to feel slightly unwell, but it was absolutely manageable. I was able to get on with my day-to-day activities, but I started to see that over a quick amount of time, things started to get worse. The next morning, I woke up due to go to college. But for some reason, I felt extremely sluggish. I had these sharp pains in my stomach and I realized that I couldn't stand up straight. So when I did get out of bed, I ended up laying on the floor. I didn't know what to do, so I called my friend to tell her how I was feeling. She reckoned that I should stay at home and sleep it off because, I might have the bug or it could be period pains. She was just like, go to sleep, hopefully this pain will fade away. So after the phone call, I laid on my bed, curled up like a prawn. And after a while, I started to think to myself, nah, something ain't right about this. I feel like there's more to this than I think. And then my hypochondria kicked in and was like, but what if you go to sleep and you don't wake back up again? And I was like, oh, hell no. Let me get back up, go to the hospital and check myself out to see if everything's okay, just to be sure. Why did it take me over 3 hours to get ready and leave the house? That is how much I could not get myself together. That is how much pain I was in. That I would get up, try and get active, and then I'll be back on the floor. I'll be crawling around, trying to get shit done, brush my hair. It was just a mess. So after majorly stopping and starting, I finally got everything together and I left the house. So I'm walking down Balham High Road, hands clenched over my stomach, still like a prawn, timid, staggering down the street. I got on a bus to Tooting Broadway. I've got off the bus in Tooting Broadway and got on the G1 that takes me into the hospital. Now, when I got on the G1, I actually got on the G1 because I was on the floor. No cap, crawling to the back of the bus to sit down. I found a double chair and I laid across it. People was looking at me, staring at me. I'm sweating in pain, holding my belly, and I just feel like death at this point. Everything's feeling like a vivid dream at this point, and so I'm just trying to handle it, and I'm thinking, I'm so glad I came out my house, I'm near the hospital because I'm feeling worse. So the G1 has gone into the hospital and stopped at the closest bus stop that is next to A&E. So I've entered A&E, everyone's looking at me. Like, ain't y'all used to seeing people that are sick? Like, this is A&E, Everyone's coming here for accidents and emergencies. There's like 5 people in the queue by this point. Gone to the back, humbly just standing there patiently in pain. Now, at this time in my life, I had anxiety, I was insecure, I was young. So I was thinking, if I sit down on a chair, I'm either going to miss my spot in the queue or someone's going to confront me about it. When I finally got to the front of the queue, shit happened on queue, for real. I'm looking at the woman and I've got my hand on the desk, I'm crippled now, like fighting to stand up. And as I've gone to tell her what's wrong and my name and all that kind of stuff, everything just blacked out and I collapsed slap bam onto the floor. So I've passed out now, woken up in a wheelchair. By this point, the doctors have come over to me, they're asking me questions. They're now informing me that I need an appropriate adult to be here to attend. So I had to give them my mum's number. She come even though he wasn't speaking. So now after I've given them all the information that I know, I'm being sent for x-rays, scans, and all this types of stuff. We're doing tests now. It took so long that they gave me a bed to sleep in for the night because nothing's moving forward yet. We don't know what's going on. Doctors are coming back and forth from my room, trying to get a bigger picture, trying to understand what's going on, how I'm feeling. Painkillers, none of them ain't working. Nothing ain't numbing this pain. So the next morning, doctors have come back again. They basically said to me they can't find nothing on my x-ray. Everything seems fine. So the doctors are asking questions, trying to rule out possibilities. And I'm sitting there thinking, even I know this is something more severe than what you're talking about. And now they're insinuating that I've got an STD or something. So I'm saying I don't have sex. Do you think you have chlamydia? Chlamydia? He's just trying to tick off the list like of things that it could be. My mum's there, so it's all awkward and that. So obviously they've gone back to the drawing board, but they can obviously see that I'm in physical pain. I'm sweating, I'm hot. So something's going on. They have decided they're going to refer me to a high-ranking doctor. So during that afternoon, early evening, I had a visit from some really nice doctors wearing plain clothes. They came in to greet me and let me know that they're going to look over my file and I may need to take some new tests. So imagine, they've looked over my file, sent me for an x-ray, and then once the results came in, they showed me like what was going on. And they basically explained to me that with no wasted time, I need to have an emergency operation ASAP. They had said that my appendix has burst and the liquid is spreading through my stomach as we speak. They then said in the nicest way possible, if we do not clean this up fast, it will be fatal. So now I'm shook. I don't know if I'm more scared of having an operation or dying, but the job has to get done. So I wasn't able to eat for a couple hours, and during this time I started arranging my surgery. As I'm going through the operating department, they're informing me of all the procedures and what's going to happen when I get into the room. Now the doctor is telling me that they're going to count down from 10 to 1. And then when it gets to 1, they're going to insert the general anesthetic, which is going to put me to sleep. Please tell me why I'm laying on the operating bed shook. I'm just thinking the worst things possible. Negative energy, hypochondria, anxiety, kicking in heavy at this point. Please tell me why this man's counting down from 10. I'm counting in my head. I'm looking this man in his eyeballs. And I'm thinking to myself, make sure I wake back up. Like, make sure I make it through. I trust you. While I'm doing that, this man's plotting at 5, 4. I'm getting ready now. I'm just bracing up. My spirit was probably thinking, you crafty little... Got to 3, blacked out. The man tricked me. Had a successful operation by God's grace. That when I woke up, my mum had like a cheese sandwich. It felt like that was the first thing I've ever eaten in my life. Smiling from ear to ear like, yeah, let me get that sandwich. During that time, they gave me a whole morphine machine, stuck a needle into my arm. So every time I pressed the button, the morphine would go into my veins and get me high. So in the nighttime, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., I'm pressing the button. Like I was shooting so many shots of morphine and being pushed through the hospital in a wheelchair by my friends. High, laughing, running around. I swear they even clocked and they took the machine away from me the next day. Honestly, I thank St. George's and the doctors so much because they did a great job and they saved my life, so I cannot thank them enough. Now, I did end up with a big scar on my stomach, which I'm going to show in a minute. But also, after this operation, during the healing process when I was at home, the tissue inside my stomach ended up getting stuck to my organs and I ended up having twisted bowels. So I had to go back for an operation again, which I had keyhole surgery, and they basically untwisted all my insides, and that was a whole different experience. It was crazy. If there was anything I would say to my younger self, I would have told my younger self, never allow stress to consume your life. Your body reacts more negatively to stress than your mind actually does, without you even feeling it happening. I would tell my younger self, God will never give you nothing you can't handle, and you can and you will, and you did make it through it. And lastly, I would tell my younger self that every situation you encounter in life is teaching, training, and growing you into your future.